Chiefs Kingdom. Welcome back to One on One, a KC Sports Network podcast. I am your co-host, Mike DeVito, here with 9-year NFL veteran and Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl champion, Jeff Allen. And we're here to bring you all things Chiefs football from a player's perspective. We got the win, Big Jeff. We beat the Giants. Giants fans love they love me and you. That Judge way, that Joe Judge way over there in New York. It seems to work, right? I mean, we were wrong about that. It seems to work. No, they stink. They stink. But we got the win, Jeff, and now we're going to talk about the game, break down some trades that happened at the last minute, talk about the weeks to come, recap the game, obviously. But before we do that, our sponsor, Cookie Society Cookie. Jeff, we're in November. What do we got, man? I was the most excited to talk to you about this today because new month means new cookies. What's on the menu?
It's the holiday season. That means it's the best time of year for us.
Yes,
those times where you can put on pounds and wear hoodies, and people don't see those extra layers that you got tucked under there. So we have peach cobbler cookie this month. We have a Texas toffee. We have a pecan pie cookie. We have a sweet potato pie cookie, and all other classic cookies like banana pudding, chocolate chip cookies and cream, salted caramel. I mean, the list goes on. Check out cookiesociety.com. We restock on every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Those things go quick. So if you see it sold out, come back the next Wednesday.
So, Jeff, of all the new ones, which one would if you had to, pick one, like if you had to go get one, which one are you choosing?
It's probably going to be the sweet potato pie. That one's really good. I mean, it just reminds me of something my mom used to make every holiday. So
that's great. That's great. Make sure to check them out. Cookiesociety.com. Thank you, Jeff, and our sponsors. We're grateful for that. All right, Big Jeff, the Giants, we got the win. Wasn't perfect, but we got it. We needed to get back on track. It was an important win. Before we even jump into the X's and O's and stuff that we saw from the game, what are your thoughts about the criticism that keeps coming up? That's basically like, sure, you beat the Giants, but the Giants stink, and you just beat them. You just got past them. This is not a reason to celebrate. This is just this is another piece of evidence that we should be worried. I see this on Twitter all the time, which is why I try not to go on Twitter so often. But what do you make of that criticism? Because you were hearing it all over the board.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair looking at it from a fan's perspective. It's fair. I mean, it's one of those games where you think you should convincingly win. And even though you won the game, it just feels like you lost it. But I would say this is the National Football League. We spoke about it last episode. Yeah. You can lose any game, any week. It's a highly competitive league, no matter what the records say.
Right.
I mean, each team has the opportunity to beat, any team. So just to get the win is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
I do think there's a lot of things to clean up. It was very encouraging. I mean, we'll go into the X's and O's on the defensive side of the ball. It was very encouraging.
Right.
Just got some things to clean up, though.
Yeah. More stuff to clean up. Still got the turnovers, some little things like that. But you're right. We got the win. And we talk about momentum and how it goes bad, it goes real bad. When it starts to go good, it can really pick up and go really good. And so that's why, even though a win like this, with some of the things that you say, oh yeah, we could fix that. It's the Giants and we should have killed them. Okay. Nevertheless, we won. Yeah. And like you've said a million times, it's the NFL. It's hard to win every one of these games on Sunday. And now the momentum is, going back in the right direction. And so that's something you got to hang your hat on. I mean, there are times that I've been on, Jeff, and I'm sure you can speak to this too. We've been on great teams that played teams that weren't, that weren't that good. And we went in and it was a dogfight because that's just the nature of the NFL. And I've been on the opposite side. I can remember my first year in the NFL in 2007. It was like week 9 or 10. We were playing the Steelers. And I want to say they were all, if not 9-1, they were undefeated, 10-0. And at the Jets, we were like 2-7, right? We were awful that year. We finished 4-12. And we spanked them. They came into New York and we just popped them. And we did the same thing the next year to the Titans. We played the Titans and they were like 11-0. And, again, with the Jets not as good. And we went in there with Favre and spanked them. So you have to, when you get these wins, you got to take them and be grateful for them. So
you have to take them. It's too tough to win in this league to not appreciate a win. You can be highly critical, and that's a part of it. But at the end of the day, the most important part is getting the win. It doesn't matter how you got it done. It doesn't matter the style points. Did you get the win? So they got the win, so we're happy about that.
Yeah, no doubt. And we've seen. Let's talk about the defense first. We've seen that the Giants this season have been to get things going at times on offense, and KC's defense looked like they held up pretty well. I mean, what were your thoughts? Looking through the game.
I think the front seven played extremely well.
Yeah,
that was really cool to see. Just seeing Chris at 3 technique a lot more than we have all year.
I love it.
Him impacting the game. He really wrecked the game, and I think that's where he should stay. Even though he can play defensive end, he is an elite all-pro defensive tackle. So leave him there. And then the young guys, Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, super fast, super athletic, sideline to sideline, made a ton of plays, and they brought energy. So that was really cool to see. I think they need to stay on the field. I don't know how we make that happen, but if they can get pressure up front, if they can stop the run, that's going to bode well for the defense in their future.
Right.
It's going to give us a chance each and every week. The offense struggled. I mean, they did just enough for us to win the game.
Right.
And the defense really, did their part and won that game for the Chiefs.
Right. You talk, it's interesting about Chris being at 3 technique. So you hear about how important that left tackle position is, right? And how usually a team's best rusher is going to be on that side because generally that's the quarterback's blind side. He can't see what's going on behind him. And if you have a world beater at right defensive end that can get things done on that side, he can really wreak havoc on a quarterback. But when you have somebody like Chris Jones, and I'd be curious to get a quarterback's perspective because I don't know, and you could tell me too, Jeff. But I'm assuming if you're going to have pressure on you, you'd rather have the outsides of the pocket caving in where you could step up than the inside of the pocket, caving in on you. And somebody like Chris Jones, that you have to worry about right away in your face, right? Yeah. Not this 4 or 5 step rush on the outside that's going to get to you eventually and give you a chance to step up. But this big, monster coming down the middle that's if he's not getting free because he's got great footwork, he's got great explosion in there, he's got great hand movement. I mean, he can beat a guy off the bat, but if at worst he's driving the best guards and centers back into the quarterback's face, I would think as a quarterback, I would at times rather have your world beaters on the edge and know that the inside of the line was settled than the opposite. I mean, what do you think about that? Am I thinking around that?
No, you're thinking the right way. The quickest way to the quarterback is inside.
Right.
And even quicker when you play defensive tackle. So if you got a guy that can pass rush inside, he's going to disrupt the game. I mean, he disrupted the run game that way, getting off the ball, getting to the mesh point. The running back had no opportunity to even make a read. Quarterback-wise, it's really tough when you can get interior pressure because you can't step up. In particular, when he lines up at left defensive tackle over that right guard and gets pushed, most quarterbacks in the NFL are right-handed.
Right.
We say in the offensive line room, a lot of people don't talk about it, but right guard might be one of the most important positions on the O-line because that's in the direct line of the quarterback's throwing arm. He's usually looking right to left. That's how he reads the defense. So if you can disrupt the middle of the pocket, get that push, it doesn't matter if you get a sack. You're getting pressure, you disrupt, and you're making him, think a little bit, and then he starts seeing ghosts. And that's all you need. That's all you need. You just need the quarterback just to 1 second slower.
Right.
That gives the DB an opportunity. That gives the linebackers opportunities, to get depth in zone coverages. It does a ton. So I think that's really important leaving them there.
Yeah, and this idea of seeing ghosts, I would as a defensive lineman, just as a defense in general, I think you'd rather have a quarterback that you get there, say twice, but after those 2 times is so mentally affected that they're constantly, off their guard and off their mark and constantly worried about that. I'd prefer that than getting, home 4, 5, 6 times with playing a guy like Phillip Rivers who doesn't care. But he's going to stay in there. He doesn't care how many times you hit him. He's just going to stay home and he's not going to, see ghosts. Like when you have a quarterback seeing ghosts, that is, that is a beautiful thing.
You're affecting them when you're not even affecting them. So
right.
That's the cool part about if you can get after a quarterback early, you have him thinking the entire game that there's pressure. He starts seeing ghosts. He starts doing things when he doesn't have to. He starts pressing. And that's what we need. We need that dominant force inside to continue to push the pocket. And that gives, Frank Clark and other defensive ends opportunities when the quarterback can't step up to get those easy sacks.
Right.
So he's helping everybody out. He's everyone's best friend when he does that.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so we're going to talk more about the defense coming up, especially with this big trade that just happened. I want to get onto the offense, Jeff, and what you saw from them. But before we do that, let's talk about our sponsor, ticketsforless.com. If you're looking to score unbeatable deal on Chiefs tickets, you've got to check out our friends at ticketsforless.com because they got you covered. Locally owned for more than 17 years, ticketsforless.com has the best selection of Chiefs tickets for every game, all without the outrageous taxes or per ticket service fees you find on other sites. Plus, you can use our exclusive KCSN promo code from ticketsforless.com to save even more. Use code KCSN21 at checkout to save big on any Chiefs order at ticketsforless.com. That's KCSN21. Check them out. All right, Big Jeff, let's talk about the offense. Lots of different things. One thing that I tweeted about that I'm just so grateful I'm retired, because when I see Trey Smith on an inside pull and trap the three technique and just destroy, just take his soul right out of him. And that hurt me over here in Northern Maine. I mean, that I felt that. I was like, oh man. Talk to me about what you saw on offense, man. It looked like, the score wasn't great, but up front they did some nice things, I thought.
Definitely up front they did a lot of great things. That was really good to see. I think we came out the gates great. The first drive, taking what the defense was giving us. Coach Reed had a great first 15 like he always does.
Yeah.
But they're taking the underneath routes, taking the short throws, getting the ball out in perimeter. They're playmakers. Guys were making plays, got to the red zone relatively with ease. And then the turnover, which seems like it's been the theme, this entire season. Bounced off of McKinnon's face mask. I think he was actually trying to go to Gordon there.
Right.
But we can't make those mistakes. We got down to the red zone a couple of times in the turnovers. We had the fumble by Kelsey. All those things that we keep shooting ourselves in the foot.
Right.
But they're moving the ball still.
Right.
I think we need to run the ball a bit more. Honestly, I do. They do a good job. I mean, you saw, Williams, you saw Gore, the new guy.
Right.
Coach Reed sitting the presser. They both did an excellent job. I like the patience of Gore. I like his burst, his acceleration, especially with this big O-line. You can hide behind these big guys. They're moving people.
Right.
And they're built to do this. They're road graders. They can run inside or outside.
Right.
But I think we need to lean on them a little bit more.
Yeah.
I hate going back to the 2015 season. Sounds like, but when we got on that win streak, we weren't turning the ball over, and we ran the ball extremely well. We had Spencer Ware and Sharkanjic West. Jamal went down early in the year, so we were relying on two backs to get us production, and we leaned on the running game.
Right.
Alex took what the defense gave him, limited the turnovers. The defense did an excellent job, and we played good complementary football, offense, defense, special teams, and I think that's what we need to do. We need to stop putting pressure, on one side of the ball. We shouldn't, as an offense, think we have to win this game, or defense or special teams. Collectively, we need to come together as a team and win this game. And if we do that, it'll be good.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. I mean, you look at the pass run breakdown. I mean, Pat threw the ball almost 50 times.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of passes. And especially if the defense keeps showing up like they did this week, you're exactly right. You don't have to worry as much about because here's what happens: you run the football more, you're eating up, you're dominating time of possession. Those are those body blows. I mean, you're demoralizing the other team. You have the offensive line that's built to do it. And again, it calms everything down. It opens up everything downfield for all the exotic pass stuff that you want to do. But yeah, I mean, I think they ran the ball 20, 25 times or something like that. And I don't even know,
It's like a patient fighter.
Right. Exactly.
You pick your shots. And I think that's what we need to do right now. We need to pick our shots, be a little bit more patient, run the ball a little bit more, and ultimately get to the fourth quarter, either with a lead where you can be in 4 minute, or where it's close enough we're in striking distance. And I like our chances because of our quarterback. I like Patrick
Right.
Mahomes. I think when the game's on the line, I wouldn't want to have anyone else.
Right.
But if we continue to make some mistakes throughout the entire game, we get to the fourth quarter and we're down 2-3 scores. Now you have to press even more. That becomes a problem. So I think we just need to be a little more patient. Lean on that offensive line and pick our shots.
And I understand the hesitancy, right? Because it's sort of the antithesis of what the Chiefs' offense has been, which is very much explosive, down the field, let's go, scoring every couple seconds. And I still think that I know we still have that. We still got that.
Yeah.
We've talked about the mental aspect of this, and I think one way you can calm everything down on offense, and something you could do very, very well, as you've talked about, Jeff, is just run the ball more. And when you get to the fourth quarter, like you're saying, if you've been able to successfully run the ball for 3 quarters, fourth quarter, you can let it loose now, right? You're in the game, you can let it loose. And now you're comfortable, you're confident, you haven't had all those turnovers, you haven't had all the issues, and you've just beat the other team down with that incredible offensive line, that run game. That's a recipe for success there. So yeah, I think you're totally right. What other observations did you have? How, what played into the low score again, right? So obviously not as bad as the Titans game, but anything outside of, it was just.
Just the turnovers. We had a few drops, looked like a few miscues as far as communication. Just seemed off a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that could be a mental thing. That could be pressing a little bit too much. Want to do so well that then you get in your own way. So I think guys just need to take a step back, take a breath, and just do the little things. And like I said, lean on this O-line. We have a good one, a physical one, and it's really fun watching those guys. A lot of people don't watch, the trenches, but watching these guys move guys and be dominant, it's really fun to look at. I wish I was out there. I say that all the time. It's fun. They're having fun. They're celebrating. Yeah. Trey Smith got that great block on the trap, knocked his own helmet off, and went swimming afterward. I think someone tweeted it, but he was on the ground swimming on the ground. So these guys, they love what they do. They're all out there having fun. But at the end of the day, if you're making those small mistakes and turning the ball over, it can deject anyone. So just do the small things, continue to have fun. It'll be okay.
Yeah, no doubt. What did you think of the switch at right tackle, right? So we had Niang back in the lineup this week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any ideas on what sort of the thought process there was, but either way, what were your thoughts of him back at right tackle? How'd that right side look?
Yeah, I think initially it was go Rimmers, the veteran. You know what you're going to get. He's proven what he can do, but he is what he is. But with Niang, it was just get a little bit more consistent. We know the upside, we know the potential. And I think it's the right move keeping him in there. You can grow with this guy. He's only going to get better with each and every rep. And that's just the move you have to go with. You have to stick with it. You have to continue to let him develop. And he's going to be a good one. I think he played really well. You didn't hear his name much, which is really a good thing for offensive line.
Right.
He protected Pat really well. And he was moving people. He was moving people. And I want to send each and every coach in the locker room, each and every player, a hat that says run the damn ball. I know the folks did it, but we need to run the damn ball and let our defense get some rest because, there's some really good quarterbacks coming to town or on the road that we're going to be playing. So we need to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to help each other.
Yeah, no doubt. Put the Cookie Society logo on the back. Run the ball on the front. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you're right, man. We got Green Bay, the Raiders, and Dallas coming up. So it's a good step in the right direction. And now we need an exponentially good step with Green Bay coming in this week. So, okay, one thing that helps us, I think, big time to get ready to take that step that we need to play these next opponents is this last minute acquisition of Melvin Ingram. Yeah. And so talk to me, Jeff, what do you think about this move and how it impacts that defensive line? We talked about how much we like Chris at 3 technique. Talk to me about, what you see going on that defensive line now with Ingram in the lineup.
I love it. I was really excited when they were talking to him in the offseason. I thought we were going to get him in. But everything happens for a reason. I think they couldn't come to terms for whatever reason. But he's here now. So I think that allows Chris to go back to his natural position.
Right.
Melvin's in year 10. He has some juice. I mean, I was in the Senior Bowl with him. This guy can rush the passer. That's what he gets paid for.
Yeah.
He's gonna pick his spots. But on third down, he's coming.
Right.
And I know that for a fact. He's gonna make sure he gets some pressure. And he's really good in the sub packages.
Right.
Surprisingly, he's not that big of a guy, but when he lines up in front of that 3 technique, he's really crafty, shifty, has a great spin move, up and unders. This guy is a good pass rusher.
So you're saying in it like a 3 technique spot?
Yeah, even in sub rusher, move him down
really?
to 3 technique and just let him get after it, and that's going to help us get off the field on third downs.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to fix everything, but he's going to help in certain spots, and I think that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, when you have that sort of pure pass rusher that you can move along the line, and now with Frank Clark and Chris Jones, as an offensive lineman, it's very difficult to scheme that up in a way where everybody's taken care of, right? At some point, somebody's going to be on an island. One of those guys is going to have a one-on-one opportunity, and those are the type of guys you don't want to give a one-on-one opportunity. So when you have all those guys up front, that makes a huge difference, and it covers us on the back end, right? When you're getting, we know we've had troubles in coverage at times. When you're able to get that pressure up front, that again, that's going to cover all that stuff that's going on that back end.
We talked about Chris and how dominant he is and how well he played. Frank played just as well. He had a heck of a game. He played the run really strong, set the edge, got a lot of pressure, got a game-clinching sack basically with Chris. But he played really well. So if he can keep that up, you bring in a guy like Melvin Ingram who's going to give you spurts, and Chris continues to be himself. That's going to only help everyone. That's going to help the defensive backs. They're not going to have to cover as long. It's going to help the linebackers. It's going to help everybody. It starts up front in the trenches, and that's why they're paying guys on the O and D line now, because they're understanding like without an O line or a D line, you're not going to be a good football team.
So that's the great addition for us, and I totally agree with you. It's going to be huge going forward. Talk about. And we'll end on this, but there was also a big loss for us too. And I know this is big for you, Jeff. He was big when I had got a chance to play with Tardif, Larry, when I was there. So he's been there for a while. Larry gets traded to the Jets. Obviously, Larry hasn't been on the field this year. Now he's going to have an opportunity to play in New York. They need him big time. Watching the Jets. But Larry obviously means a lot. Not just as a player on the field, but as the type of person that he is. Obviously, everything that he's sacrificed and done as a medical doctor, and especially over this past year. But he's just the chief through and through.
Yeah.
What'd you think about this move? I mean, obviously, I was grateful for him. He had a no trade clause in his thing, so obviously, this was something that he was on board with, to waive that clause.
Yeah.
This is going to give him an opportunity to get out there and play. Talk to me, brother. What'd you think?
Speaks to his character.
Yeah.
Larry's always been a pro's pro. Obviously a high achiever, being a doctor and a professional football player at the same damn time.
Yeah.
Opting out last year to fight COVID. All of the things that he's done. He's the most interesting guy in the world. I mean, if you can ever get a chance to talk to him, I don't know if it's online, his life story, like he's lived a hell of a life. So I was fortunate enough to be able to play with him, have conversations. I'm fortunate enough to call him a friend. But he went out the way he came in, a team guy.
Yeah.
He didn't have to waive that.
Yeah.
I know he wants to play football still, but the Jets, like, you think he really – I know he wants to win, but at the end of the day, the conversation probably went like, Larry, it's time to part ways. And I know it's the Jets, but, we need to clear up some cap space.
Right.
Would you do us a favor? And he, as the guy he is, stand-up guy.
Yeah.
I'll do this last favor and go out as a team guy. So he's always going to be a chief. He played a huge role in getting me a ring and helping build this whole thing with the Chiefs. So
Yeah.
shout out to Larry, shout out to LDT.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, man. Thank you for everything you've done.
I remember Larry came in as a rookie, and I had to go up against him a number of times in practice. And usually when you get a rookie like that, especially somebody who's not a high draft pick, you're thinking, man, I'm gonna just put a whooping on this young buck. And I just remember from the beginning how tough he was, right? There were so many times I wanted to fight him. I'm like, what is this dude coming down here from Canada giving me a hard time, man? And he just was, I mean, just that tough, very much in a Jeff Allen mold where he wasn't gonna block you. He was gonna block you through the whistle, past the whistle, drive you into the ground. And he didn't care if we were in spiders during OTAs or, in the middle of training camp, he was going to bring it. And, as a veteran, I'm sure you've had this before too, Jeff, as much as it annoys you, eventually you're like, I really respect this guy. I mean, this is truly a pro.
And he was doing that and he didn't have a damn clue what was going on.
No idea.
He had no clue. Like when he came in, he could barely speak English. No, seriously.
I know
how much of an achiever he is. He didn't understand sarcasm. He didn't get the terminology. He spent so much time, catching up so he can learn not only how to play football, but how to adapt in the locker room.
Yeah.
And he became one of my favorite teammates of all time. One of the people that inspired me, even though he's younger than me.
Yeah.
And it was just so damn cool to see what he's become and what he'll continue to do even post football.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. I'm working on my PhD now. It took 2 master's degrees to get a resume good enough to get into a PhD program. And I could never have even gotten to this point. And this is in philosophy, not medical doctor, right? It's just in philosophy. I could never have done this playing football. No, there's just not enough hours in the day. I mean, this man he couldn't have slept. He couldn't have slept. He just
could you imagine all of that while going to a foreign country, learning a different language, playing a sport?
No.
I couldn't have done it. Like that takes a special human being. I would have been over in Montreal trying to learn French. I would have been done. I'd have been back home on a plane. Like, I can't do this.
No shot, man. No shot. LDT, shout out to LDT. Yeah, and you're right, too. Totally a team move. I don't know if the Jets have ever been this bad. Not, and I've been watching the Jets since I could remember, watching football. And I don't know if I've ever seen them this bad. So to say, yeah, I'm going to up and go to New York and leave KC, who's on the up, and obviously a team that if you saw them in the Super Bowl, you wouldn't be surprised. To go to New York, yeah, definitely a team move there. And so great guy, and a lot of guys in that situation wouldn't have done that. So. No. Shout out to LDT. That's fantastic. Yeah, awesome guy and forever a Chief. And so we're excited to see what he does. But now we're moving on to next week, Green Bay. Well, we will recap that. Big Jeff, any last thoughts before we get going?
No, a win's a win.
Win's a win, baby.
I don't care how it looks. Beat Green Bay. Go Chiefs.
Yeah, that's it, Chiefs Kingdom. Here we go, baby. We'll be back here next week, hopefully with another victory. And rapping about all things Chiefs football. Big Jeff, thank you, brother. Love you. Chiefs Kingdom, we'll see you next week.
Peace.